Hello there, welcome back. This is on the second channel because I didn't really think that it would fit on the main channel. So if you're watching this, you're cool and you're checking out the second channel, which is based and I don't know, geek pilled. Anyway, but I wanted to talk today a little bit about why YouTube is like the hardest job I've ever had. I wanted to do this kind of non-scripted and kind of in a fun, more relaxed way, just for a way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better and I can talk a little bit about my life. But I want to start by saying that I am still working on this week's video essay. It's kind of different than what I've really done lately. Most of my videos are just kind of written and then I go into the film process of it and I work out. Like I usually have like a thesis that I want to go with and an outline, but this time I'm just writing about something creative that I'm doing, something that I'm actively working on. So the process is a little different. Like I still have a goal and I still have like a thesis and an outline that I'm kind of going with. Well, not so much an outline. But it's different in so much as that I am writing and creating at the same time. So that kind of works together. And when I write things, I get new ideas about what to create. And when I create things, I have new things to write. So they kind of work in a circle and it's kind of helped me flesh out my ideas a little bit. The thing that I'm working on in question, well, actually, you know what? I won't talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. You'll have to watch the other video on the main channel to find out what it is I'm talking about. Anyway, but I wanted to talk about why YouTube is the hardest job I've ever had. For most of you, I would imagine 99.9% of you probably don't know this about me, but I grew up in rural Illinois for the first 4-ish years, minus like a 6-month gap of my adult life. I did HVAC, that's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. That's the people who work on like your furnaces and make your house feel comfortable when you're in it. And I'm sure that most every adult who just heard me say that's probably like, why the fuck are you explaining it? Everyone knows what HVAC is. No, but I did that. For the first 4-ish years. I took 6 months or so off to go to university, and I dropped out of university. I went to music school, music composition. I liked music. I still love music, and I need to play it a little more often than I do currently. But the school just wasn't for me. The degree wasn't really going to be for me. Music school is very competitive, at least the one I was at is, and I didn't like that. I wasn't a fan of it. For me, music felt more like a community thing where we work together, we come together, and we all enjoy something about it. But music school had a couple things that just really fell off. I don't want to get into it this video. I've gotten into it before, I think on a much older video, which may be private, may not be. You can go through the old Geek Factory videos and try to find it. I don't know if it's private or not. But anyway, so outside of that, I was doing HVAC. And it's just kind of what I've known to do. Like, I could go back to doing it tomorrow. I still have all my fucking tools for it. I could just go back and do it anytime. I have that experience under my belt, which is maybe a good thing because if I ever decide to quit doing YouTube, like, permanently, which I don't think I ever will, at least not for a while, I can always go back to that. It's something that I could fall on, you know, if I ever go home for, like, an extended period, well, by home, I mean Illinois. If I ever go back to Illinois for an extended period of time, I need to do work, I can just go do HVAC with my dad and my brother or something like that, and have a pretty decent time doing it, and make a little bit of money too. So I think that the hardest part about HVAC for me, particularly after I dropped out of college, was that I felt like my life had kind of fallen apart. I was living with my girlfriend at the time and my old college friend and his girlfriend. The living situation was a little bit weird. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment. For the most part, things were okay, but every once in a while there was always a weird thing that went down. And eventually they moved out, my friend and his girlfriend at the time. They moved out, and eventually me and that girlfriend, we ended up splitting up and lived together. Advice for you guys, and I'm sure she would agree with this if she heard me say it. Don't ever live with your partner after you break up. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. There were a lot of bad things that happened. We got very mad at each other pretty often, and don't overdo it. That's a little life advice from Gary. Don't live with your partners after you break up. Anyway, so after I dropped out of college, I was feeling pretty defeated about my HVAC job. I felt like my life wasn't really going anywhere. So I met Emily. Oh, I didn't really meet her, but I started talking to Emily again after years of silence, more or less, and we kind of just hit it off. Eventually, we started talking more seriously. We ended up dating long distance, and I made the very, very tough decision to move to California, away from my family and away from everything that I had known for the past 2 decades of my life. And to this day, it has been probably the biggest thing I've ever done in my life, was moving out here with her, and I'm very happy I did, although I have been met with very, very, very much strife and complication because of that decision. And the biggest thing was, when I first moved here, I was still doing HVAC. I was making like $25 an hour. It was decent money for having like 3.5 to 4 years of experience. in HVAC. Making 25 an hour isn't bad, and it definitely paid well. But the problem is that I was in a completely new area that was totally like a 180 from what I knew. I grew up in a small town of like 1,500 people, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't really know anymore. And so to have that and then come to an area that is millions of people constantly for miles was a very strange experience. It was certainly not something that I had expected to be so difficult. I knew it would be jarring. Like I thought, oh, this is gonna be it'd be pretty jarring of an experience, but I didn't know it would be so mentally tough on me. And then you couple that with a job where I didn't really feel like I was doing well. There were some people at that job that did not treat me well. There were also people who did. Like my boss at that job was very kind, very understanding, and he's a good man. And so is his wife, who does a lot of the stuff in the business too. Good people. But there were a couple of other employees that did not make me feel comfortable at that job. But I ended up leaving that job because I was working an average of like 11 to 14 hours a day on a job that I signed up to do 8 hours of work for. And I understand it because of drive time. You might be getting like 9-ish hours of real time away from home. But it was just absurd. It was like, I think my longest day was I left my house at like 6 a.m., my apartment at 6 a.m. and didn't get home until 9 p.m. Got home, showered, went straight to bed, woke up at 5 a.m. the next day and went back to work. That was the week before I quit. And it was miserable. The next week I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I have to find something different. So throughout the month of October, I was really down on my luck. I had quit that job before having anything else planned, which, by the way, guys, a little life advice: don't ever quit a job, even if it's like the worst job in the world, unless you're getting like physically or sexually abused. Don't quit a job without having another job lined up. Just don't do it. It's a bad fucking idea. And even I knew that, but I just said fuck it anyway because I wasn't doing well. So I left that job in search of another. But while I did that, when I left that job, I was still making YouTube videos. I was doing politics on YouTube, and I had very, very little success. I had a little over 300 subs on YouTube, and this would have been around the time following the October 7th attack in Israel. So Israel and Palestine, that whole conflict was booming once again on the internet. Probably the biggest time I've seen it boom in my lifetime, and it was just too much for me. I don't want to go too much into my political beliefs, but I feel that there are a lot of bad beliefs on both sides of the aisle, and seeing the toxicity that was born from that made me nope the fuck out of it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this shit. The people here are fucked. Nobody treats anybody with respect, and people totally misunderstand each other, do not communicate well, and it's all just a bunch of bullshit, which I don't agree with entirely now. I think that politics and political advocacy on the internet is good for the most part, and I think that people who have genuine beliefs and they want to advocate for those beliefs should do so, and I think it's totally fine, no matter what position you have on any particular issue. If you want to advocate for those, as long as you're sincere and you truly believe that it's the right thing, and so long as you're principled and are willing to change your mind when you're proven wrong, if you're proven wrong, that's good. That means you're a good person. But like 90% of people who do politics on the internet, that ain't it, chief. They're very not principled. They're very, how would you put this, stuck in their ways for the most part. And so I took a chance. I said, I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to make a video about Minecraft. Something that I hadn't really done seriously since I was in mid to late high school, maybe my junior year of high school. I had made a couple Minecraft videos here and there between that time or during that gap, but it was never really anything like serious. It was like, oh, here's how you make floating islands, or like, here's my fucking, I don't know, whatever the fuck I'm working on kind of thing. So I made that video, which that video is why 1.21 feels like the tipping point for many Minecraft fans. A little 8-minute video, I just scripted and threw it together, gave it to Emily and said, here, edit this. And that video now has 960,000 views. And it gained me from like 300 subs to easily over 7,000 in a few weeks. It was very quick. And what I thought I would do at that point was dive all into that shit. I was still looking for a part-time job. I knew that I still needed a part-time job, but I think there was a little bit in the back of my head that was like, what if this YouTube thing's really working out? What if I could just do this all the time? And I was really hyped for it. I was really excited for it. And then I was doing like 3 videos a week. That was insane. 3 videos a week? It's not sustainable. I've talked about this a little bit before on the main channel in a couple of my video essays, but like doing 3 videos a week writing the essays, editing them, making all the footage, and uploading that shit, dear God, that took so much out of me, and it burnt me out really quick. That's why, like, when I hit December, I went from making 3 videos a week to just none. I think December 8th was when I posted the biomes video, that Mojang, whatever update, whatever the fuck. And then December 26th or 23rd or 26th, I think was when I finally uploaded the why Minecraft's progression is awful video or whatever. And that video, of course, popped off again. So what I had was, in very quick succession, a big spike up, and then a little bit of a climb, and then another big spike up. And that got me to about 14,000 subs pretty quickly. And then from there, it was a pretty steady climb up, getting close to 20,000. And I hit 20,000, I think, in April at some point. And through March, I kind of started to notice that the growth had slowed quite a bit. And this was inevitable, and it still hit me really hard. It's really hard when you first start out doing YouTube to not get focused on the numbers. And I've only really recently discovered that. And I'll admit, I still feel bad when a video gets like a couple hundred views in an hour. I'm like, oh, it's not really doing well. But it's really hard to not fall into that mindset. And people, like, there was a study done, or like an interview or a poll or whatever, where they asked kids, what job do you want? Like, what's your dream job? And most kids say influencer. Don't. Okay, if you're like 15, 16, 17, whatever, or even 18, don't try to do YouTube. Don't try to do this stuff. It's incredibly hard. Unless it's something that you are absolutely 100% passionate about. Like me, I've been doing it since I was 11. I just haven't stopped. That's the problem. I just started doing it when I was a kid, and I never quit. So it's something that I deeply, deeply, deeply care about and got really, really, really invested in. If that's not you, like if you were doing other things as a kid and you were more interested in other stuff and you have other passions in your life, like doing anything else, literally anything else, by the way, don't do YouTube. Don't do it. If you can get lucky, you can maybe combine your niche with like woodworking or playing music or something like that and do it on YouTube. And if you get really lucky, you'll make something that pops off in the algorithm. But you can't just like do whatever it is you want to do. You have to work within this algorithm, and it's incredibly difficult. It's extremely tough. And I'm not sitting here, I'm not complaining about viewership, and I'll get to what I mean here. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to, what the fuck is my cord doing? What happened to you? I'm sorry, that's really annoying. And then I'm looking at it. I'm not trying to complain or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is that this is the most stressful job I've ever had. The ups and downs of it, having a video that pops off in views and then the next one's like, is one of the worst experiences for my mental health that I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, I'm only 23. That's pretty young. But it's still like, that hits pretty hard. And it wasn't until recently, around the time of my Mario Wonder video, when I made that and put it out, that I kind of just went, you know what? My videos are my art. This is what I create. I want people to come to these videos for me and what it is that I talk about. If they leave, if they don't like the content that I talk about, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, YouTube should be about you and me as the creator. This is our relationship here. If you're not into that, if you're not wanting to be a part of that anymore, go ahead and leave. That's perfectly fine. I'm not in a position right now to do YouTube as my full-time job. Fuck no, not even close. There was a time where maybe I could have seen it back in February, back in January, because the money I was making during that time was 4 figures a month, so over $1,000. That was pretty good money. That on top of my part-time job was like, I'm rolling in it, dude. But March came around and I made like $600. April comes around and I make under 500, like just barely under, like 494, I think. I don't know the exact number. And then May hits and it's like not even 400. I'm like, damn, it's really slowed. But the number still goes up, and that's pretty cool. But I hope that if there's any evidence that I am beyond the point of caring about the views and the money, I think it's the video I uploaded called missingperson.mp4. That video was just something that, like, I found a funny short video on YouTube. It was suspense with like the fart reverb sound afterward. I saw that and I was like, oh my god, I have a fucking hilarious idea for a video. And I just made it with Emily, and that was it. That was the bit. And some people watched it. I don't even think it has 1,000 views, maybe not even 500 views. But it's really funny to me. It's just art. There's a lot of work in that, in the cinematography and the audio work in that. There's a fuck ton to it. But if people don't want to watch it, that's fine. I didn't make it for those people. I made it for me because I enjoyed it and I wanted to get a chuckle out of some people. And that's the most important thing. But I do want to say, and maybe a way to wrap this up on a positive note, is find something that you love doing. It doesn't have to be YouTube, and I would almost recommend to not do YouTube because of the mental strife that can come from it. But find that creative thing. Find that thing you love making and make it. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is your expression of yourself. That's why we make any kind of art, right? So most people, they have their 9 to 5 that they work, right? And then they usually have something else outside of that they're really into. For a lot of people, it's like sports or it's something else like that, right? But find that hobby that you really enjoy. And if you can make a little bit of money at it, why not? That's pretty much what I did. That's what I'm doing, is I'm have a hobby, YouTube, and I'm making a little bit of money at it. It's not my main source of income anymore, and it may never be, and that's okay. As long as I still get to have that creative outlet, as long as you get to have that creative outlet, a way to express yourself to the world beyond yourself to other people in a way that feels meaningful to you, that's good. And that's all that matters. The viewers, the number doesn't matter. What matters is your impact on yourself and what you create and the impact it brings to you. And yes, part of that impact is how many people it reaches and how many people care, but it's really more than that. You have to do it for you. If you do it for the money, you'll get probably some big explosions in viewership, but you may lose that sense of self. You may not have it. For example, like, do you think Mr. Beast really feels like he's showing himself on those videos he makes? I highly doubt it. He's putting on a front. It's an act. It's to hype up the kids, get them into whatever wacky, crazy thing he's doing, and god damn it, I respect the man for it. He's doing a fucking... The man's 25. He's like 2 years older than me. Jesus Christ, bro. He's fucking mega rich. But all that is to say is that he's not really doing the you part of YouTube. He's doing his own thing, I guess, in that sense, in that it's his unique ideas. And everyone else has kind of just copied him these past couple of years, which is so fucking sad. But I don't feel like you get a lot of Mr. Beast, the person, so much as you get Mr. Beast, or I guess Jimmy, the person, so much as you get Mr. Beast, the character. And that, for me, isn't what I want out of YouTube. It's good for him, because that's his job. It's his business, and I'm happy for him for that. But YouTube isn't my job. It's my art. And so what I make out of it is kind of up to me. And I think that we should probably treat our hobbies the same way. If your life goal is to be an influencer, you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. And that should say it. When kids say, I want to be an influencer, they say it because they want the cool fame. They want the attention because they want to fit in, right? That's what it's about. And in some ways, us adults are no different. A lot of us aren't, and myself included a little bit. We do it because we want to belong in some sense. But at the end of the day, if you break past that and you just start doing it for you, it feels a lot better. And that's kind of how I've been kind of going about YouTube lately, is just, fuck it, I'm going to make whatever it is I want to make. And if people are there for that, cool, happy for it. And if people leave or people don't care anymore, cool, happy for them. I hope they find something else they enjoy watching. Anyway, that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, go subscribe to the main channel if you haven't. I don't know how the fuck you would have found this channel without the... Doesn't matter. Anyway, become a member on the main channel too. This one's not monetized, so you should subscribe to this one, because I want this one to make me money too, because I like money. You know, believe it or not. I know it's not for the money. I just spent this whole video talking about how it's not for the money, but I do like the money. It does help pay bills. You know, it can help me afford some things. It can help me pay off some of my debts that I have. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. And my final message for this video would be, go make stuff. Get some flowers. Look at these guys. They're beautiful. Beautiful flowers. Anyway, I'll see you guys all in the next video. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna upload next in this channel because I just threw off the whole course of things. Is this a gameplay channel? What the fuck is this?